So Mom and I got up around 8 in the morning, and we left for the Renaissance Festival at around 8:45 in the morning. And we got there at around 10:30 in the morning during a car ride in which Mom and I discussed various memories and made some small talk, generally speaking. Earlier on today, after we had already gotten back from the Renaissance Festival, I had some little pieces of turkey meat stuck between some of my teeth that I had to get out with essentially by flossing whichever teeth I suspected of having a piece of turkey meat stuck between them. One of those little handheld sticks with a piece of floss between two prongs. I think I got most of the bits of turkey meat out, but not all of them. The turkey leg was one of the first things I got. At the Renaissance Festival in terms of food. Throughout the time we were there, from 10:30 in the morning to about 6:30 in the evening, we mostly spent our time going to shows like Envy, oh no, not Envy, it's Judas and Mongolia. We first went to their escape artist show, and then we went to their mind reader show. I have a feeling that there's some scientific way the mind reading is being done, but I haven't yet researched that. There was a point in which I got some dry red wine. Ended up carrying it in my left hand. This is how you can tell left from right. This means left, and this means right. And some black cherry hard cider in my right hand. I had to sip at the cider quite a bit to minimize spillage. By the way, this is a Southwest avocado salad. Both Mom and I got, one for me, one for her, at Wendy's to ensure that we would have something to eat for tonight. Yeah, that didn't have to be cooked. I didn't really get that much sleep in the hours leading up to when we left for the Renaissance Festival. First, I slept roughly... I think I slept roughly from 1 in the morning to about 3:30 in the morning, and then I think I slept from 5 in the morning to maybe 8 in the morning. Definitely better than no sleep, but not a whole lot. And these are just my best guesses. These days I like to try to follow a keto diet. Yeah, but I kind of ended up suspending it a bit. Because today ended up being a special day. Typically, we only go to the Renaissance Festival one day a year, and that day ended up passing really quickly with all the shows we watched, we went to. The fact that I had to consciously make efforts to take pictures during them. All the walking around we did while Mom looked at the map. At times kind of just wandering around the festival grounds. On a day that was both hot, it was mid to high 80s Fahrenheit. And it was pretty humid. And there were points along the way in which I refilled a water bottle at a bathroom sink. At one of the many sinks of the bathrooms that are provided on the festival grounds. And Mom and I ended up getting home at around 8 p.m. after we left for home at around 6:30 p.m. And that's including that brief stop in Wendy's to get our salads and whatnot. We also decided to get some beverages. In this case, Mom got some strawberry lemonade, and I tried to get plain milk, what they called white milk, because, well, yeah, it is white. But it turns out they didn't have plain milk or chocolate, apparently, because I ended up getting strawberry milk. This is a pretty good salad. The shows we went to varied in what the artist performed. The first show we went to involved acrobats, in which they did tricks while suspended by a hula hoop on some kind of string, and then a curtain. Then there was that escape party show. At the end of our stay at the Renaissance Festival, and Mom and I went to the gift shop and got these Renaissance Festival I think they were technically called, Mom called them shot glasses, but they're not, don't look like a shot glass. It says right on the labeling that they're pirate punch cups. We got 2 of them, since we already have a mug at home from the last year's trip to the Renaissance Festival. So we just got those 2 punch cups, one for me and one we're intending to give to Dad. He spent the day painting in his new house. Likely listening to music along the way. Though I didn't call him until we were on our way home. In fact, missing a call from him around 4:40 p.m. I didn't even notice it because Well, we were so busy with everything. We made an effort to attend every single show we could, and I think we did a pretty good job. I think we only missed the second show time slot because I got that turkey leg, which takes at least 20 minutes to eat. And at one point, a small family asked for permission, and we gave it to sit at our table. I made small talk first, which resulted in Mom making some small talk too at points. We made some conversation. And yes, there were points in which it's quite likely that I think every time we were in a long line, I made small talk with whoever was behind me in line, and likely told them about how I draw on polystyrene with Sharpie markers, and then showed them one or two of the drawings. First time I did this, I showed them my self-portrait. And then another time I showed them the Tyler Foams logo. There was another show that involved a sort of magician, I believe Gidmo, Jamoko, the Jester. Now I remember I couldn't pronounce it correctly the first time. It was Giacomo, the Jester. Wore a pretty nice costume. We didn't wear costumes because we hadn't really planned much for this trip to the Renaissance Festival. Yeah, at one point, I think someone who was in an elf costume or something, I think it was more a fairy costume actually, because the day we went to the Renaissance Festival, it happened to be Fairy Day. So there were quite a few people. The majority of them female, I think I recall. Though I didn't exactly keep track of the ratio in my head. That wore fairy costumes. One of these people approached me briefly and commented me on my human costume, which was really just the normal clothes I was wearing at the time. A pair of mostly black with some blue shorts and a red t-shirt. Then, because I was wearing Crocs, she asked me how I wrestled the Australian crocodiles, and I simply replied with a right hook and then a left hook, essentially. Only without that essentially part. And then she asked if I fed them either toes or toe jam, because these Croc shoes were on my feet, to which I said toe jam, because if it wasn't that, then I wouldn't have any toes. And at that point, to demonstrate, I took off, I think if I recall, it was my right Croc. Those rainbow tie-dye Crocs served me pretty well throughout the day. And so did that little deodorant-shaped stick of sunscreen Mom brought for us for the long day ahead. I rolled it all over my face, including my lips. Rolled it on my arms and hands and my legs. Basically, any parts of me that weren't covered by my clothes, and it served me well. It didn't get sunburnt at all, despite being out in the sun for hours and hours, sometimes directly, such as when we went to that Trial and Donkey show at around 3:30 p.m., in which people were dunked into a pretty dirty pond, but it was such a hot day that was tempting to get dunked into that pond. Or even to jump into it, like one of the performers did by intentionally walking off of the stage into the pond at one point, saying it was uneven, but for the show's sake, they made an effort of trying to make it look like an accident. Then the Wayward Traveler, which was supposed to be at a point in which someone from the audience was picked. I tried to volunteer, but Mom kind of didn't want me to do that. Anyway, because of the dirtiness of that pond. Anyway, a man was picked, and we suspect that it was planned that way. He revealed he had his smartphone on him right before he was dunked, and then it seemed, they made it seem like he never came back up after slipping off of the dunking chair. Though Mom suspects there's some kind of trap door to let yourself out of the pond without rising back up again somewhere. This is what remains at this point of actually the second time I got I got stamped for age verification to buy alcoholic beverages. Throughout the day, I only had 2 glasses of that black cherry hard cider and that one thing of dry red wine. I went to Flagstaff's pub, one of the few select alcohol locations. They also serve wine slushies, which I was at one point tempted to get, but ended up deciding not to do that. Even if I hadn't, I wouldn't have been able to get it anyways, because it turns out their slushy machine was broken. At another point, I got a black raspberry waffle cone with Reese's Pieces. It looked more like the cups. I assumed those little yellow, orange, brown candies, but it was more like Reese's Pieces cups. And then cookie crumbles, which looked like Oreo pieces to me. I'm probably going to get another glass of milk at some point. Maybe, maybe not. Actually, you know what? Here's that strawberry milk I talked about earlier. Well, supposed to be strawberry anyway. I didn't taste much strawberry. Though it looks a little bit like it might be strawberry. Yeah, Mom and I both got stamped to show that our age was verified. Though after hours of walking in the sun, my stamp faded, and I decided I needed to be stamped for age verification again. At the ID booth, at pretty much the area of the front gate. The second time, the man ended up stamping me extra hard 2 times. And both times my age was verified. Both times my age was verified. It had to be done with my passport, since we didn't have my learner's permit with us. At the time, it was kind of with Dad, since he's the one who's primarily teaching me how to drive these days.